Hello, everyone, and welcome to the World News Network Saturday morning live stream. I hope you guys are all doing fantastic. This is Saturday. I'm actually here on time, which is always a wonderful, wonderful thing. And we did have some things going on this last week. It's been sort of kind of quiet in some ways. And you might have noticed too that I've been rather quiet. And that's not because anything is exciting going on, although I meant to tease this out, but I have been doing taxes. So that has been taking up so much of my time. But we do have a couple of things going on. Definitely. We just still have Harry and Meghan seemingly desperate to try to do something. So we do have Meghan going to the children's hospital and doing a reading. We have sort of an official on their website, them showing their recent artistic they held an artist function at an art exhibit, essentially. Again, still seemingly trying to do royal stuff without being royal. It's just all very, very silly. We also have Meghan Markle's cast members on Suits who are going to do a podcast review. The character who played Donna and I think Harvey Spencer, I can't remember, Patrick and Sarah are doing the podcast. That's been huge recently for people who don't know, is that older shows, some of the stars are going back through rewatching and reacting. I think it's sort of started with Office Ladies and then sort of expanded into all different avenues. And so I just think that is very interesting because I'm going to do a video about if Meghan Markle, considering the massive explosion that Suits has had on Netflix this last summer, if Meghan Markle would have been so much better served to actually not marry Harry. And you don't have a magic crystal or whatever, but I think she probably is regretting actually marrying Harry because she would have been better off with the Suits resurgence in her career. I think that would actually have been much better than what she is doing. Now we also have 3 weeks, I believe, post-launch of American Riviera Orchard, and there is nada on that at all. We also have, obviously, most of the rest of the royals are still sort of kind of on somewhat of an Easter break. We did see some of them. Obviously, William will be out probably until April 17th because their kids are out of school. And so he'll be at home with Catherine and the kids. And we understand because sometimes I'm like, well, you guys can get out a bit more. But given her recovery and, just basically the importance of spending time together as a family when you're going through something like this, he needs to take as much time as he needs. Charles is still sort of getting back to work, and he is anxious to continue increasing engagements and looking to apparently go to Australia later this year. We also have some of the other royals. I think there's going to be state visits coming up within the next couple of weeks in Sweden and the Netherlands. And so just lots of royal stuff going on. But yes, I was a little bit probably not quite as on the ball this week with some of the royal. Oh, and we still have the Sussex Squad. I forgot the main lead for this, the Sussex Squad continuing to devolve on Twitter. I don't quite get the obsession with trying to prove that the video that the sun god of Catherine at the Windsor market was fake. I think that's sort of a dumb rapid trail, if I'm going to be quite honest, but I understand maybe some of the inclination, because if you can prove, for example, that the Sun lied about that video, well, maybe they might be lying, for example, about the expose they did on the Sussex Squad. I think that's sort of the reasoning behind all of it, at least somewhat, because otherwise, honestly, it's just silly because who cares? Who cares? And again, I am fully convinced that it was Catherine. Again, you have like the screen of the car to deal with. It was from a faraway shot. It definitely looked like her, definitely walked like her, so many things. So it's like, yes, it was her, but I don't understand the obsessive need that some people have to prove that it's fake. I mean, I guess if you want to go down that rabbit trail, I mean, honestly, as well, I think the surrogacy stuff is a rabbit trail that is unnecessary. But I really think it's interesting. But I understand that there's serious implications for that. I just think the video thing is kind of stupid, to be honest. To be honest with you guys. But yes, that is what we have today. So I'm so excited to be here. So excited to be a bit out of the tax bubble. I've been trying to find so many things, but I believe I'm almost done. So let's go ahead and get into this. We have Maria, one of our members. Good morning, Brittany, and Miss Pippa. Nice videos. Yes, Miss Pippa, she just lifted her head. She's actually over laying in the sun in this room. So she was like, oh, thank you. Diane says, I became a YouTube member. Thank you so much, Diane. We've got Lizzie, one of our members. Good morning, everyone. Hi, Miss Pippa. Thank you for another live stream, Miss Brittany. Of course. We have Isdra. said hello from Edmonton, Canada. Michelle, Judith. We have Jane Bucks fan from Tampa. We have the Casey. Oh, okay. Sometimes it takes me a minute. We have SBT says hello, my friends. We have Athena. We have Tori, one of our members. Good morning from Utah. We have Tanya, Gail from Nebraska, Tori. And don't forget to click the like button. And I remembered to turn on my light. I remembered to turn on my light this time. Whoops, I knocked over my. This is one of my favorite all-time scents from Bath and Body Works for anybody who cares. Plumeria. I don't know why. I think it's awesome. Biscuit, we got Casey. Thanks for the reminder about hitting the like button. I get so into the broadcast, I forget to do that. Why, thank you. And I always forget to mention it. So thank you for all of those who think of the things I always forget. Ellie says hello from Canada. We have T Grim. We have Tori Myers. Does anyone think that Meghan is afraid or timid by Princess Anne? Let's get Princess Anne after Meghan. Princess Anne is a good example of what a spare does. That is for sure. Yes. Princess Anne suffers no fools. She suffers zero fools. And I don't think she had any like for Meghan, I would imagine. Again, you get the impression from people who meet Meghan, there's sort of two reactions. They either think she's the greatest thing on planet Earth, or they smell that something's rotten in the state of Denmark. She just sort of rubs people either way, because some people, I think, fall or at least are susceptible to a lot of her charms. And then other people are looking at her going, you know what? I think that's fake. And so that was, I think, definitely William. I would imagine 100% that was also Princess Anne. Princess Anne, again, she is what a spare does, which is, yes, you will not be queen. You will not be queen. But guess what? You can still work for your country. You can still have a great career, a lot of respect. And that's what Princess Anne has proved. It's not all about, and she doesn't get a ton of press, but she proves that it's not about that. And if you don't care about the press and attention, then you can just get on and do your work. And I mean, she travels more than pretty much anybody else in the family right now. She goes on all sorts of different tours and stuff. And that's because she is a hard worker. She loves what she does, and she has a passion for her country. And Harry, I think throughout the whole thing, definitely lost that under Meghan's guidance. Molan, my bet Princess Anne scares the mess out of Meghan Markle. Yes. Because again, Princess Anne doesn't suffer fools. And I think most of the BRF clocked Meghan pretty well as just an opportunistic social climber who was desperate for fame and fortune. Harry was the dullard who was so into it, and other people in the family were like, well, we'll give her a chance. And yeah, that was a bad mistake. Jackie Quarterman, hi, Jackie. I hope you're doing well. I tell my mom that you say hi, and she is just so pleased and wants to tell you hi back. It says hello from sunny Western Australia. We have Bettina, hello from Kentucky. Molan, hello from Australia. And Tori says, I cannot wait to see Brittany and cute little Miss Pippa. She may come over here. She may not. She's coming over this direction. We'll see if she wants to. Michelle says, good afternoon from London. We have Karen as well from Chile, California. And I think I missed this. Tanya became a YouTube member. If I didn't recognize you, sometimes my mind gets a little confused. So thank you so much for becoming a member. That is amazing. Kimberly Brown, one of our members for 4 months, says, can't wait to hear your take on Lady C's book. Yes, I haven't gotten it yet. I mean, I read her initial one. I don't know if I'll get the new one or not. We'll see how that goes, because there's a couple others that are on my list for a long time, and I really need to get to that. And I did actually film this week, but I just have not had a chance to edit it because I've been trying to find everything, going through I had to go through all my credit card statements to find like the conversion rates for foreign travel and stuff. So I haven't got that, but hopefully we will get that first episode up this weekend for full thing for members, and I think I'll do part of it for everyone. So we have Terry gifted One World News Network membership. Why, thank you so much, Terry. We also have Marcia as well. Thank you so much, Marcia, for your tip. It means so much to us and little Miss Pippa, wherever she's at. We also have Karen, and we have Gina. Hi, good morning from Las Vegas. Do you think Meghan Markle and the kids will attend the Invictus event in May? Will Prince Harry actually show up? So here's the interesting thing. I think the date is like the 9th for this event. Let me look and see what a calendar says for May 9th. And so that's a Thursday. So it'll be interesting to see if they do come. I just I feel like she hates the UK and doesn't really want, but here's the thing too. She doesn't want to come unless she can be somewhat the center of attention. So she has to share the spotlight with other royals. She hates it. But since everybody else is kind of gone and I don't imagine any other royals will be attending this event, she may go just because she's like, I can be the princess everybody looks at. Yes. And so we'll see exactly when, if the date is confirmed or not. I think the Express again reported the 9th. Let's see. Let me put it in here real quick. Harry, St. Paul's service 2024. And I think it's kind of a little ridiculous that he's holding it at St. Paul's. I think that's a little odd. Like, why? I just don't quite get it. So let's see what it says. May 8th. May 8th is a reported date. Okay, so that is a Wednesday. Okay. I'm trying to think, guys. I may be able to actually get to that event. I may be able to. So we shall see because I will already technically be in Europe. At least as a plan. If I get stuck with a massive tax bill, we aren't going. But the hope is to go for the Scandinavian tour that is going to Sweden and Norway. So I'll probably hit Denmark, obviously be in Sweden and Norway, and then I may do maybe just a flight over to London and back for the day, not even spend the night. I think that might be easiest. I could technically do that. I think. So we'll have to see how everything goes. But yes, I don't think the kids will show up. Again, they've been so weird about the kids. They're so weird about the kids. They're so a whole weird thing about it's not really about privacy, it's about control and it's just weird. I don't think Meghan wants anybody's attention taken away from her, and I don't think she wants her kids acting out, and I don't think she knows what to do if her kids do act out. So that's why that's always been my opinion about why they don't bring the kids out much, but we'll see. Janine says, became a YouTube member. Thank you so much, Janine. So happy you could be part of our community. I owe you all a members a Monday because I've been working on my taxes, I think, all day Monday, maybe, and definitely Thursday and Friday. Yeah, it's been a lot because I did a little bit on Tuesday and Wednesday, but I also tried to do videos because I was like, oh, I desperately need videos. Tyler says, good afternoon from North Yorkshire, England. Our clocks changed last Sunday, so back to the usual 3 p.m. time as opposed to 2 p.m. that's been for the last 2 weeks. Hope everyone is well. And I'm so glad you guys were on top of that because I totally missed that for a while. Patricia, good morning. We also have Deirdre. Good morning from sunny and book cold Chicago. You got the tea ready for the chat. We have Teresa, Virginia, Ritz, Kimberly, one of our members. Hey, Brittany. Hi. We also have Linda. Good morning from West Virginia. Love Brittany's channel. Why, thank you. Oh, and we have Jane Kelly. Oh, thank you so much, Jane. Good morning to the RNN community. We appreciate that so much, Jane. Thank you. Means so much crazy things going on. Virginia says it's been made public Biden is supporting a charity of theirs, so they will disrupt our upcoming elections. Lady C and Royal Grift have disclosed. I haven't seen that exactly. I would have to look and see, but I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, it's complicated because there's a lot of different organizations that definitely have a particular bent that get a lot of taxpayer money. So it's definitely not something that's exclusive to just them. So I'm not super concerned about that. What I don't like is Meghan going, look, I voted. You should vote too. That's no. Again, there's a lot of money that flows between various organizations and the government. So, with grants and those sorts of things. So that's not like super exciting, but some more serious things. Yes. Tori says, anyone excited about spring? I sure am. I am excited about spring. I don't want summer yet, though. There was a moment where it seemed like summer was like on the horizon. I was like, we had a brutal summer last year, and I'm like, I'm not looking forward to that. But thankfully, it cooled down again. Not that I want it to be super cold, but I feel like I have more warm weather gear than cold weather gear. Or no, sorry, more gear meant to keep me warm in cold weather rather than gear meant to keep me cool in hot weather. Yeah. Okay. Cheryl says, good morning from Oklahoma. Have my peppermint tea and looking forward to the chat. Goose and Vinny say woof to Miss Pippa, and Squeaky gives a meow of indifference. Oh, yeah. I'm making eye contact now with Miss Pippa. She's laying in the sunshine She is the sweetest. All right. And thank you so much, everyone, for all your sweet wishes and everything regarding Maverick, our golden retriever that we lost last week. It was so sad. And I tell her every day, I'm like, we miss Mr. Maverick, don't we? Don't we? So, Miss Pippin, I just want to say thank you and thank you guys for your consideration for our loss. He was definitely the commissioner, the big man of the family, and he would come by and he would stay with us, and he made Pippa, I think, feel a little bit more secure because he's big and she's so tiny. So, you good, Miss Pippa? Did you get to say hi to everyone? Did you get to say hi to everyone? Yeah. Okay. Well, we're gonna set you down now. It's just not as comfortable with the big mic the way it is with having her up and everything. All right. Elizabeth said good morning to everyone. And we have Lori as well. My first flight. Hey, Lori. Liz says good morning, afternoon, evening, night, wherever you may be. Casey says, I'm excited about spring until I got a foot and a half of snow and felt an earthquake. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Also, Australia just released news that Harry's wife proven not to have given birth. British editions in blackout currently. Don't really think so. I feel like people talk about the big surrogacy reveal coming all the time and it just never materializes. So I've seen some of the things where like, oh, the so and so said yes, and I've looked at them and I was like, that doesn't really say anything. So again, my opinion has always been I don't think surrogates were used, and I just don't really think that's a path to go down, because at the end of the day, I mean, there are two children in this world, and yes, you may have questions, and yes, it may it may boot them out of the line of succession or whatever. I don't think it'll get that far. My thought has always been to encourage changing the letters of patent to say that a child to have a royal title must be raised and educated in the United Kingdom. If you can't do that, you don't get a title. And I think if you are given a title as a working royal and then you decide, yeah, I don't want to be a working royal anymore, well, then you need to lose that title that you were given. Because I talk to Sussex Stan people on Twitter from time to time. And they go, well, she was gifted the title of the Duchess of Sussex. And I was like, yeah, she was gifted it because the royal family was under the understanding that she cared enough to actually freaking work for them. But she didn't care. And she just wanted the title so she can go off and tell everybody she's the Duchess of Sussex, even though she can't pick out Duchess Sussex on a map or tell you the 5 things about it. She wants to just rail down that she's the Duchess of Sussex. That I always find an issue. And so those are the things I would more like to focus on personally. Jen says, happy Saturday to everyone from NYC. We have Dawn and we have American Woman. Good morning, lovelies. Happy to be here on this gorgeous Saturday. We have Judith. We have Why Do That? Great question. Why did you do that? I don't know. Finally able to make another live from Manitoba. Sorry. We have Marianne. We have Tori. How is everything going in NY? Are things getting better? Yes, because they had an earthquake. Although I will say things shook quite a bit in some places, and so it looks like it was. I mean, it was obviously very startling because, on the East Coast, you don't really get earthquakes. That's not something anybody really thinks about much. But depending on how close to the surface the earthquake was, things can really, really move. Because 4.5 or 9 or whatever is not terribly high, but it's not nothing either. I was actually at home once at my parents' house. This was years and years ago. And I was just sitting there. And it was like one shake, but it sounded like a bomb went off. As it turns out, it was like this little mini earthquake. And I'm like, that is so weird. But it sounded like a bomb. It was so odd. Lady Aviator, love these live streams, Brittany. Highlight of my Saturday. Thank you. Carol, good morning from St. Lucie, Florida. Happy spring. Kristen says, happy Saturday. And we have Becky. Good morning from Northeast Texas. Agree, Princess Anne is the real deal regarding Meghan. She would do Jane Austen direct cut and then ton loved back in the day. Okay. I don't know what that quite referring to. I don't know that much about Jane Austen. I know it's terrible. Oh, we have Jean Beverly became a YouTube member. I don't know if we recognize you yet, Jean. So we'll just go ahead and say thank you so much. And we also have Terry gifted 5 Royals News Network memberships. Why, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Terry. We have Godzilla Man Streb. Love waking up to Brittany. Oh, thank you. We have Aletha from Boston. We have Terry. We also have Judith. Good morning, Brittany. I believe all the vicious attacks from all the Meghan Markle's many mouthpieces will cause her to fail financially. Her sad attempts to mirror our Princess of Wales is endless. And I think too, it turns people off. Like Meghan's fans would just turn me off because they're just unpleasant people. Because you don't need to attack the like personally other commentators to try to prove Meghan right, which is what they do. Generally they attack you personally, or they just tell you lies. Sometimes, I have another account that most of those people aren't blocked on. And because I've been looking at certain things, I'm actually starting to get all the pro Sussex Twitter stuff, which I actually appreciate because I was like, okay, I can see what they're saying. And then sometimes I look at this stuff and especially sometimes when it references me, one of the really annoying things is the selfie I got with Catherine. Somebody said that was an invitation only to like their most ardent followers or something. I'm like, no, it was a public announcement. And I was so mad because I couldn't respond to it and tell them it's in People magazine that they reported that they were going to be at the Dog and Duck. I was only there because there was a general public announcement, people. I have like no inside track. And I just hate that there's all this lying that goes on because I'm like, it's just I find it very annoying. I find it very, very annoying. Because it's like, let's debate the issues, sure, but let's debate them on an even playing field and with the truth being relevant. Because if we're debating based on lies, it's like that just doesn't totally work. And again, I think a lot of the Sussex stands as I go through, and part of the video I did part of the podcast thing I did talked about the Sussex Squad. And it's like, they just don't even know that much about royals, to be honest. They just don't. And so their ignorance plays a huge factor in what they say and how they say it and how it's just bad. It's just bad. It just doesn't work. So that's just something I find immensely frustrating, personally. Nicole Hudson, thank you so much for the tip this morning. What is the point of the titles? Is there money involved or something? So what's interesting is I think Meghan just wanted the titles because she thought that would give her sort of a leg up and in the industry, because Meghan, again, she's a crappy actress, guys. There's just no going around it. She's a bad actress. And in my opinion, she is a terrible actress. Everything I've seen her in it is gosh awful. And nobody cared about Meghan Markle before she got that title. Until she got that title, that I think in her mind, then people in Hollywood would finally take her seriously. But there's a big problem here. And that is that the title just doesn't mean that much, really, at the end of the day. The title doesn't magically make you a better actress when you were a crappy actress before. It doesn't change your work ethic. It really changes nothing about you, but just giving you a title. And it is sort of a thing in royal circles to have a title, and depending on how high ranked your title is, that might have a big factor in things and stuff. Because one of the things I find really funny, and this is just my opinion, so take it for what it is, but I think it's kind of funny that Princess Caroline of Monaco has not divorced her husband, Prince Ernst of Hanover. So she is not only the Princess of Monaco, she's a Princess of Hanover, but the Hanover title gives her her Royal Highness status, whereas her just title from the Principality of Monaco, Princess Caroline, just gives her her Serene Highness status, which is lesser than her Royal Highness. So sometimes I think she doesn't divorce him just because she wants to keep that HRH, which is probably not true. It's probably not true. They've been separated though for I want to say 10 to 15 years. They haven't been seen together in a really long time. So it is sort of a status symbol within royal spheres. And I think, again, Meghan just saw it as a dollar sign. She can say, well, I'm the Duchess of Sussex, because she doesn't really want to be Princess Harry, because she wants to be Princess Meghan. And of course, her fans and stans call her Princess Meghan, which is not, again, how titles work. But I think there's not really money involved in the title that they have. But I think she wanted the titles in order to monetize them, because she thought that would make her more money than simply being Meghan Markle or Princess Harry. So again, that's just my opinion on the matter. But again, like anything else, taking any sort of title doesn't necessarily change you, really, in some ways. That's probably not very descriptive, but a royal title does not fundamentally change who you are. You are still the same person you were before. You have the same talents, the same abilities, all these sorts of things. It changes nothing. It just gives you a royal title. And that's what I think Meghan Markle failed to realize, is that she just thought her royal title would get her ahead. And yes, it did somewhat, but now everybody is sort of doing a reality check. Hollywood is contracting. They're not blowing money out the wazoo like they were on failure projects like Harry and Meghan stuff. They've had one success, which was Harry and Meghan the documentary, because that's the only thing people wanted to hear about from them. And they failed to create anything else that was all that noteworthy. And so they've been kind of flops. So its royal title, again, doesn't change that much. Judas Goat Barbecue gifted 10 Real News Network memberships. So I thank you so much. I still love that handle, Judas Goat Barbecue. That is awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. And hopefully others will as well. Lady Aviator says, I wonder if Meghan was purposely left off the Suits Reunion podcast. If so, it's hilarious. Harry and Meghan are 110 away from being being a full-blown circus. And thank you so much for the tip. And yes, it is funny. It is funny. But also too, they all said, we don't have her number anymore. How can they contact her? They don't have her number. And yes, they could go through her agents and all those sorts of things, but they're also probably like, is it really worth it? Because I think the truth is, I don't think most of them really liked her all that much. The guy who played her love interest was, I think, very sycophantic at the Emmys or Golden Globes, excuse me. And I think that's just in part because he would love probably to do a spinoff with her, because for most of the cast, this has been the pinnacle with Suits. And so he was like, okay, well, if we can get Meghan back to something, she's a great actress. She's a great actress. We should do yada, yada. Again, I've seen a lot of Meghan Markle stuff. It's really bad. It's just really bad. I haven't watched through all of Suits, so I can't attest to her performance throughout it. But I also think as well is that the character was sort of written to be her in a lot of ways. And I think that's the only character she can play is herself. And she just, and anything else she tried to play, it just was really, really bad. She's just not a great actress. We have a new member, Priyanka, became a YouTube member. Thank you so much, Priyanka. I do appreciate it. Okay, let's go back over here. And let's see, we have Terry. Oh, we did get through some of these here. We have Aletha. It's on the Money Minute. Yes. It's Megan like Reagan. Hey, from Las Vegas. We have AE. Good morning from NYC. And we got Sandra. Hi, everyone. We have Stephanie. And we have Pia. And we have Liz E. I loved Princess Anne since I was old enough to hear about the kidnap attempt. I don't think her brother would have reacted the same. No, well, Charles was pretty much a calm cucumber when some guy tried to run up and shoot him. He was just kind of like looking at this guy fiddling with his cufflinks. So I think I think this is, but yeah, the whole situation with Anne was wild. So worth a listen. We have Ruth and we have Lucy. We have Lexamag. We have Diane from New Hampshire. We have Janine. We have Kyler. Good afternoon, Brittany. Hope you are well, lovely. Thank you. I am better than I was last week. Last week was just sad, and then allergies too. So it was just like everything at once. And so we have Natalie. Hey, from Ontario. We have Candace and Lori G and Sugar Cookie and Lucy. And we have Ivana. Hello from Australia. Debbie from Louisiana. Love your channel. Why, thank you. All right. Kimberly said, did anybody see how nasty Megan's clothes were at the children's hospital? She didn't wear any deodorant again, and it shows. I didn't notice that quite as much. And I don't like, I'll comment on wrinkles and stuff like that, or something that I think is particularly unflattering, but I don't like to get too into it. Like, it's a pretty outfit. Did look like it didn't zip up quite all the way in one section, but I didn't really notice the deodorant, but I also wasn't really looking and didn't really care to look. So, and I mean, let's be honest, it happens to everybody. Although sometimes you do need to make decisions. Like, I know a lot of people make a big fuss about, the non-aluminum deodorant. I tried that stuff, but it's, obviously it does what it's supposed to do in terms of smell, but in terms of sweat, it doesn't really do the job. So I was like, I had to go back to the other stuff because I don't want to be sweating through my stuff sometimes. So I'm like, sometimes you got to make my decisions that reflect, your actual body chemistry and not just, but that's just me. Lizzie says, if she ever lets the kids go to the UK when they come of age, no one is going to care about the titles. Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's every time they use the titles and they're calling themselves Prince and Princess of Sussex, it's going to be sort of an issue because it seems like they are sort of representing the UK. But again, I think it's just would be so easy for the letters of patent to do the Swedish thing that says you must be raised and educated in the UK to hold a royal title, which makes sense. You should have some sort of connection to the country you hold a royal title to, unless you've been exiled. And Harry and Meghan have not been exiled. They self-exiled. They decided to leave. So yeah. Lizzie B said they're all over the place and they need to pick a lane and stay in it. Yes. And I probably should have hammered that notion home a little bit more in the video I did earlier this week. But yeah, it's like I feel like I can't grasp onto anything they're doing because they're all over the place. They're all over the place. And they want to be philanthropists yet entertainers, yet they can't entertain. They can't really do philanthropy. And honestly, philanthropy doesn't really pay. So it's like, what are they doing? Because again, at the end of the day, you just need a simple, I'm doing X. I'm doing X, and this is my lane. This is my success. I'm going to stick here. And they can't seem to do it. They just can't seem to do it any time they try. It's just a mess. And I just think it would be just so simple for them to just do the simple thing and just pick a lane and stay in it. It doesn't matter what it is. Just pick a lane. Just pick a lane. It's not that hard. Teacher Ray Samantha says, hello, Brittany. Your last video about Harry and Meghan, Meghan's newest videos in the Children's Hospital was tacky and tasteless. She is mimicking Princess Diana love for the Philippines. Why, thank you. And yes, it's not that going to a children's hospital and doing a book reading is necessarily bad. What I just think is stupid is like, you're trying to be royal. Like, and you left. You voluntarily left. You told us how much you hated it, how awful it was, how like constricting and everything it was. And yet you literally spend all your time right now trying to mimic it. You need a job. Stop trying to be a charity person. Get a job, like a real job. I don't care. I don't care what it is. But yeah, because I mean, even again, her launching of the brand is so unbelievably bad. It's striking. It's like, even with Catherine's announcement and everything, like still. Ritz, I agree, Brittany. Why, thank you. Jane Buxton, I was at the grocery store yesterday. Catherine was on the cover of People magazine, had her own special edition of People magazine. Meghan must be fuming. Yes, Meghan is always fuming, I feel like. She's always fuming. And she's just always like jealous, I think, of people. And it's like but here's the thing in the royal system is that it's always going to be a hierarchy. You will never be as important or as successful as a person up above you. You just won't. You just won't at the end of the day, most of the time. So I'm like, you were always going to lose. Like you set yourself up literally to lose. And then you're complaining to everybody else about it. I'm like, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. Judas Go Barbecue said, a great stream, 2,000 watching, hit that like button. Why, thank you. Yes. As it's like, you never know what you're going to get week to week, but it's always very impressive, really. I'm always very excited. Catherine says, I always thought Meghan was pregnant, but Lady C. Yeah, I mean, here's my thoughts on the pregnancy is that I think sometimes people say, well, somebody can't do X. They can never do X. And, my body never did X. So how can she crouch down in that particular position? I'm like, yeah, but, everybody's built differently. It may actually work for them and it doesn't work for you. That's always possible. So I think sometimes people put too much stock in, their personal experiences and their friends' experiences. But my kind of thing is, at the end of the day, especially in the UK, surrogacy would be incredibly hard to pull off. They would literally have to adopt Archie. Meghan would have to adopt Archie because Archie would be in the legal custody of the woman who gave birth to him. They also cannot pay this person. If they came in from outside the UK, like from the United States, like getting a day-old baby a passport would be sort of ridiculous. It would just be really wild. And the thing is, and this might be anecdotal, but it's totally true, is Meghan Markle didn't really show her weight until after her pregnancies. And yes, perhaps that's a little bit weird, but she gained a decent amount of weight and really struggled to lose it. And Meghan Markle is too narcissistic, vain, and vapid, I think, to do that just to prove that she was pregnant. She would want to bounce back as quickly as Catherine did. I'm sure it annoyed her to no end how perfect Catherine looked after having her children and how terrible Meghan looked and how much she struggled. I mean, she was with Catherine and Pippa, who are like two of the tiniest women ever at Wimbledon. And she looked excessive. Part of it was the outfit. But it was not a flattering look. And she just looked really, really big. And I don't think she would willingly put herself in that if she could help it, because she'd want to look perfect as close to after pregnancy as she could. And she just did really struggle to lose the weight. And so I think people can always have their opinions, and everybody can always have their opinions. But my personal opinion has always been is that it would be too complicated, too crazy to actually try to pull it off. And she did show the actual physical reactions of her pregnancy. Like, you can't fake that. I know some people said, well, she took lactation pills and that's how she gained the weight. And it's like, if you're trying to make a square peg fit a round hole and you have to constantly add more factors to make the narrative make sense, it doesn't make sense. So it's usually the simplest explanation is usually the most accurate one. And again, I think surrogacy would be way too hard to pull off. Especially in the UK, when they were in California, it might have been a bit different, but she still obviously gained a decent amount of weight and still struggled to lose it, because Lily was born in June, and Meghan was in November in that awful, hideous red dress at some sort of military award thing that she went to with Harry, and that hideous white red dress, one of the most ugliest dresses I've ever seen. And she was still pretty big. She's still pretty big. She's still very swollen. You could definitely tell. And so no shame at all, but just saying, you can't fake those kind of things. You can't really. And she's too narcissistic to go, yeah, I really want to look this big the whole time. Because she definitely did not. Siva says, one of our members, Meghan Markle, WME contracted meeting next week. Your idea of an outcome. Depends. If I was WME and I saw her launch on Instagram without anything, without a single product, without a show to launch with it, I would be like, what are you doing? You got to wonder too, she's going behind their backs and doing things. She's like, well, I need to hit, like, everybody's talking about Catherine, so I need to get in on the conversation. It's like, no, you don't. You don't. You look like a fool. You don't even have your trademarks filed, and you have a very generic name, a name that's shared by the bank in your city. Like, I had a video and I showed like the whole breakdown from Ad Age about it. And they're like professional ad agency people. And like their kind of general thought was, well, her name will probably mean people buy things, but it's a terrible name. It's very generic. And again, you have to go with, she has nothing to show for it yet. Like, is it literally nothing? And she only has 500,000 followers. That's really pathetic for a woman who has as notorious as she is to launch a brand and only get 500,000 followers. It's pretty bad. I mean, she might have grown it more if she hadn't done this stupid thing and just set up 9 tiles and then did nothing. I don't know why it gets me so worked up, because it's really stupid. I have no horse in this buggy, but I can't imagine having all the help she does, all the help in the world, all the money in the world, and doing such a bad brand launch. Somehow I think I launched my brands better. And I'm a historian by training. I have a master's degree in history and bachelor's degree in history. I've never really taken a marketing class. How did I do it better than she did? Again, just shocks me to like my core. I don't know why it bothers me so much. It's really quite stupid. You can tell me it's stupid. It's totally stupid. Oh, it gets me worked up. Ugh. Okay, Julie gave a super sticker. Thank you so much, Julie Mullane. I really do appreciate it. We also have Jane Kelly. Next week, she will want to be an astronaut. Thank you so much for the tip. And yes, she constantly changes her career choices all the time. Constantly. And I'm like, just pick a career. Like, I think, again, Harry and Meghan would have been so much better served if they had stuck to one thing, not done anything royal. First off, don't do anything royal. Just do something else. I don't know what it could have been. But I mean, even with Meghan's brand launch, again, I go with, she should have followed the Olsen twin examples. The Olsens would have been laughed out of the room if they didn't start their brand right, because they were kid stars. They were not really known for anything else but selling, clothing at Walmart and direct-to-TV videos and being sort of not great actresses. Like, they were not known for being quote unquote fashion icons. You know how they did that? They created a great initial line of clothing, starting with finding just something so simple, the perfect t-shirt. Again, brilliant. They wanted the best tailoring and fit. And right now they really fit the quiet luxury trend. And so that Meghan didn't do something like that, again, shows her incompetency or the incompetency of her team, although I think it's mostly driven by Meghan. And if she had done some things really, really differently, she might have been a massive success. But yeah, it just seems like she just will come up the next day and go, well, I want to be an astronaut now. It's like, you're gonna freaking lean. Gotta have a real career, honey. Gotta have a real career. Some people can say my thing is not a real career, but I like it. Okay. Ella says, I think Suits has had a resurgence because of her. I would say yes and no. Yes and no. Because there's kind of two things going on. Yes, Meghan Markle, of course, raised the profile of Suits 100%. 100%. And that could have led to an initial curiosity with some people, of course. But here's the thing to also consider. Suits became a resurgence during a strike, during, I would say, an overall downturn in the quality of Hollywood. I was actually listening to a live stream that I listen to with guys who sometimes talk about like comic books and those sorts of things. And so it was like, it's on Neurotic. It's called Friday Night Tight. So if you're ever interested in some of the Hollywood stuff, I do enjoy it. Most people probably, not everybody does, but I enjoy it. And what I thought was interesting is just watching the whole downturn of Hollywood. Because again, I used to be like, again, if I could have another channel and manage one, I would do one on like the stuff going on in Hollywood, because I do find it fascinating. Because it's like, how did one of the best industries in the world when it comes to storytelling just totally die overnight? Essentially, that's what it feels like, at least. Because like Disney, like during their earnings call, all they did was talk about redoing all the stuff they'd done before. And I'm like, I don't think there was really an original project they mentioned in their upcoming slate. And it's like, how do you have no original project? Like Disney was the company of innovation at one point, like, Fantasia, Pinocchio, of course, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, all those were massively innovative for their time. And so the artistic thing is lost. And Suits is not, it's not a great prestige drama. It's really just dumb television. But it's dumb good television in terms of the fact that you can kind of sort of watch it. You can also do something else and you can kind of sort of enjoy it. You don't have to watch it too closely. It can be something you do while you do the laundry or do like taxes or something, because that's what I do sometimes. I watch stuff while I do taxes. And so that's probably a long explanation, but I think there were two factors here. Is one, of course, is Meghan Markle raising the profile of Suits. But the other thing is that as Hollywood has decreased its ability to produce decent television shows because of DEI and stuff like that, because DEI kills creativity, then you end up with shows having a massive resurgence because Hollywood can't put out anything good anymore. And I think that's a huge, huge factor in that as well. They complemented, they received from both. And so that, yeah. Okay. Tracy said, I just hope at some stage that Archie and Lilibet get to know their heritage. It's sad. And thank you so much for the tip. And yes, that has always been my thought as well. I just feel sad for them. Feel incredibly sad for them. Imagine being Archie and your 4th birthday could have been at the freaking coronation of your grandfather. And instead you got a bouncy house in Montecito like you get every single stinking day of your life. Like, how dull. As a child, like as an adult, I'd be mad. I'd be like, why? And your parents probably, they don't really have a good explanation. Well, the family was mean. It's like, yeah, but an adult Archie and Lilibet could go, but yeah, we spent time with them though, and they're awesome. So why are you hating? Anyways, very interesting. So it's just, I just do feel very sad for them because I think they're missing out on a lot. Bella Raindrops, thank you so much for the tip, says, do you think Harry lies awake at night and thinks, what the F? Yes, I think he does. We see this sometimes in their events. Where he kind of has this kind of downtrodden look, kind of like a kicked puppy dog. And he does have that from time to time. Yes, he can do the doting husband routine. And I think he enjoys that somewhat. And I think people, again, they have this thing where, it can only be one or the other. He can either be miserable or happy. Sussex Stan says, well, he looks wonderfully in love and all these things. I'm like, yeah, he does. But he also looks miserable. I think two things can be true at the same time, that he still loves Meghan or the idea of Meghan. And he is also pretty gosh darn miserable too, because nothing is going well. He has no relationships with his family or his former friends, really, no one. And so I can't imagine he does not think that a decent amount of time. He does not look at his life and think, oh gosh, what happened? what did I do? I think he does think that, and it will hit him at some point one day, if it's not already, that Meghan probably cost him time with his grandmother and grandfather before their deaths. Because definitely for sure when it comes to their grandmother, he could have visited her the day before she died. And yes, maybe the royal family said, "Well, you can come, but Meghan can't." And Meghan was like, "Well, I can't go if you can't go here. You can't go if I can't go, Harry." And so he went with that, and his grandmother died and he missed out. And so it's those things will hit him. And if his father, let's say, dies suddenly, all of a sudden he'll be like, I missed out on time. Like, he'll live with a lifetime of regrets because of the decision he made while with her. I mean, I think he regrets a lot of them already, but I think some of the personal regrets will hit a lot harder and a lot worse at some point than the more professional regrets. So, Missy Lulu says Twilight's Ashley Green did a 10-episode A Twilight podcast interviewing directors, the actors, and authors. Yes, it is. It is good. One of my guilty pleasures from the mid 2000s was the Girls Next Door reality TV show, and they do a rewatch of it. And there's like some of it's that I roll my eyes out, but others that I like, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So it's just like one of those things. I started listening to the Office Ladies one, but I sort of got a bit off on The Office, and I feel like they were just so overly complimentary of everyone from time to time. Like actors, you can just feel it. Like they have to say, "Oh, you were the greatest thing ever." Like they just overly gush about former co-stars or whatever. So yeah. And Debbie says, "Good morning, everyone. San Diego rain has passed, but chilly day in store. I'm appalled by some of the news I'm hearing." Yes, there's like the Sussex stand there. They are something else, I do have to say. Mega Catcher says, "Don't think the main reason for Suits resurgence is because of Meghan. I think people are watched because they're curious to try to see her act." Yes, that was somewhat. And again, they're looking for shows. That's what I do sometimes. I'm like, okay, what are the older shows I can watch? I don't want to watch the new ones because the new ones often suck. So I look for old ones. I tried to watch the How I Met Your Father series with Hilary Duff, and that was painful. That was so painful. Oh my gosh, that was so bad. So, and I liked How I Met Your Mother, but the last year wrecked it for me, and the last season, so I can't watch it anymore. I can't. I tried to rewatch, and I was like, I can't rewatch it. I can't rewatch it. They wrecked the ending so badly, I can't watch it. Yeah. Oh, Chris, hi, Chris. I do have a question for you. Hopefully, coming up soon here about Sweden and Norway, but because I may have some extra time, so I got to figure out what to do. It says 50 years of ABBA today in Stockholm. King Carl Gustaf is awarding them with the Royal Order of the Wasa. That is awesome. I was like, I thought it would have been really cool if ABBA was actually at the concert for the King's like Jubilee, but they weren't. But they sang their songs, which is very sweet, and I think everybody really enjoyed having ABBA there. But that is awesome. Yes, I love that. ABBA saying Dancing Queen to the Queen before her wedding to become Queen. I love that. Abua's Lifestyle says, "Good afternoon, good morning, afternoon, and evening to everyone in the chat." Aletha says, "But she released from Suits, so should we be part of this show?" Probably not. She would probably not be part of the show, the new show that they're doing because, oh goodness gracious, is me. I don't think she wants to go back. Here's the thing too. Meghan is the type of person as well as once she leaves something, she thinks it's beneath her. And so she thinks some of that stuff is beneath her, I'm sure, which is why she hasn't really engaged with many of the Suits people. So Lisa says, why, if you wanted to be known as a celebrity and not royal, would you go and do something that royals do? She went and read a book to cancer-stricken children, clearly not something celebrities do daily. No. And I mean, celebrities do that. But again, they do that on as like an icing on the cake to all the other work that they do. Harry and Meghan have no other work. They don't. They've been there for 4 years now, and they have little to show for it. It's really bad. So bad. Like again, all their things that have been massively successful have been very self-referential. And because of that, they just don't really have all that much to show for it. So Letha says, "I think she missed an opportunity. She could have called her company Word Salad." Oh, that would have been funny. That would have been funny. Ivana says, "Hi, Brittany. My first live chat and it's 12 a.m. here in Australia." Well, I don't know if you're still up or not, but hopefully so. Teacher Ray Samantha says, "Have you read the newest book of Lady Colin Campbell? Hoping for your reviews soon." I have not, as I'm trying to get through all the other stuff I gotta do. Again, taxes. Oh, taxes. Um, so many things. Okay. All right. So let's see if we can hang out here. You gonna help me answer questions? Okay. Lisa says, but really some things royals do daily, so to speak. So Meghan wants to be a royal celebrity. Yes. Yes. Okay. Are you not comfortable? Yeah. Okay. Um, Kia says, I think Suits is something today. Oh, I'd like to move. Okay. I think Suits is something today because Meghan married Harry and brought attention to the show. So it helped her show. It definitely helped. It definitely helped to make sure I don't accidentally have Miss Pippa like um um bring down the whole show. Okay. Becky says ARO is also the name of the head of all vampires, the Voltaire of the Twilight series. Oh, that's funny. I mean, I would imagine I'm not a Twilight fan. Me and my mom went and see it and we kind of laughed our way through it. I'm so sorry if you're a huge Twilight fan, but we did. We thought it was funny. Not in the way it was supposed to be funny. But yeah, I would so see her being a Twilight fan. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Yeah. AP says, I know you don't like it, Brittany, but Sussex Baby Scam is trending and Ladies Booksy is out in the UK. So much happening with that. Yes, but I just still don't think it's not a hill I want to climb. It's not a hill I want to set my flag on personally. Debbie Darling says, I think the renewed interest in Suits comes from her marriage to that one. If she hadn't married that one, no one would have rewatched it. She would be a cut rate actress without much fame. I mean, again, I still don't think that's necessarily the case just because I think Hollywood is been so bad recently that some people are like, hey, yeah, like let's check this out. And they're looking for, again, I look for old shows. I do. I watched Golden Girls, Home Improvement, Reba. What else have I watched recently? A couple other things. There's not really a ton of new things I watched. I did enjoy Wednesday. I enjoyed One Piece. But yeah, other than that, no. There's like a couple. My parents have said Airmen, I think, or something is good. And then what is the other one? I've heard a lot of good things about Shogun, but it's not done yet. So sometimes I like to wait until something's like done before going, okay, I'll watch it. Just because if you miss the ending, like it wrecks the whole thing. But I'll have to see too how violent it is because sometimes I don't like when stuff gets too violent or explicit. It just doesn't not much fun to me. Anyways, so that's my thing. But yeah, people like older things. I go back and rewatch older stuff. Frasier. I got into Frasier. Never watched it before. Thought it was awesome. And that's because yeah, you just need the old stuff is better. It just is right now, at least especially. I would watch Friends too, but I watched Friends so much in high school that I got to the point where I've almost watched it too much. There's a couple of shows where I've gotten to the point of I've watched it too many times I can't watch it again. Friends is one of those. Yeah. So Chantal says good morning from the Netherlands. Good morning. Is it Guten Abend? Is it Guten Abend? Good morning. I can't remember. I think try. I had an app that did different languages once. One of them I tried to learn was Dutch because it's kind of close to English. Margaret says, good afternoon, Brittany and everyone from Worcester, UK. Trina, morning and woof to you and Miss Pippa. Had our last spring snow dump. The children at the hospital did not look enthused. Children sends fakes. Yes, they do. And it's just, I'm sure something too, where if you're not feeling good and they're like, oh, but there's a princess. And they're like going in there and going, she's a princess. She doesn't have a tiara. Like, and if you're not familiar with all the stuff, you just might not be that impressed as a kid. Janie says, good morning. We have Terry as well. Brittany, you should have Lady Colin Campbell on your show. You two would be awesome. Why, thank you. Catherine's video was filmed by the BBC. Yes, if you hear all those comments about how, like, it's from a third party. It was from the BBC filmed it. Like, people are freaking out about the Getty images. It's like, the BBC filmed it, guys. It's totally fine. And it was, again, so much of, like, how they filmed it, obviously, too, had this sort of light effect that they wanted. I don't know why in particular they did that. And yeah, so GM, with all the health issues of Charles and Kate, do you think they need more working royals, being Beatrice, Eugenie, or Lady Louise? Recently, Eugenie got a lot of media attention for her Easter reading. Yeah, I think definitely the slim down monarchy approach Charles implemented was a bit short-sighted. Obviously, he couldn't anticipate himself getting cancer and Catherine, so he couldn't anticipate that. But I always thought that you guys kind of need some younger blood because I've done the age average, and I think the age average of the BRF right now is in their 60s, and most other royal families it's a lot younger. And they also have much smaller countries. So like the population that the Swedish royal family needs to reach is very small. So you can keep it to the immediate family because it's a really small, like population wise, it's small. In terms of actual land mass, it's actually pretty large. Netherlands, very small country in terms of population and land mass. UK is different. It was like it's probably either the second or third most populated country in all of Europe. And there's a lot of people to reach. And then you have all the Commonwealth on top of that. And so it's like, yeah, the slim down monarchy approach when everybody is in their 60s or the average age is in their 60s, some of the high ranking members are in their 70s, 80s, and 90s. This might not have been a great plan. I understand what Charles was trying to do, but I also think he missed sort of the obvious issues that would come up. So yeah. Susie says the man who took the video came forward and already said he got paid for it. Yep. Yeah. So he got paid. Virginia says, I hate doing taxes. Good luck with them. Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you. It's terrible. Call me Cordelia. Good morning. Finally made it live. I do have like an accountant. So I just wanted to get all my receipts together, all my expenses together, everything, account for everything, and then submit it. And then, but it's a lot of little odds and ends. I even almost forgot like my desk and my bookcase. I could write off and stuff because I use them. I bought them for the channel basically. So again, lots of little things. Morning, Brittany. Caught my first live stream. Ramsden said, "Oh, I thank you." Candy Jennis. Hello, Brittany from Michigan. Hello. Azuma says Lady Louise would be best. As no Andrew. Lady Louise would be good. I do think Beatrice and Eugenie are great too. I think Louise is just too far down the line of succession, but goodness. Brittany loves one of the original B and BW scents. Yes. Yes. This is one of the original, man. I was like in high school or something, somebody had Plumeria and I just really, really loved it. That was awesome. So CLMM says, good day, Brittany. I'm off to bed as it's almost 1 a.m. and I am knackered. I'll catch up later. Chloe from Queensland. Well, Chloe, I hope you had a wonderful night's sleep. Regis College said, good morning, Brittany from Boston. Why, hello. So Brittany, what's the latest on Meghan hiring a photographer to photograph her kids? And what do you think her intentions are? So I would imagine that the intentions, if this is true, again, a lot of it, take with a grain of salt oftentimes. But I could see it definitely being part of the cooking show. I could see her kids definitely being part of the cooking show. It's a way to integrate them in, expose them to the public and stuff like that. But what I would find it very annoying is if they do a photo shoot with the kids and they have the kids' faces turned away the whole time. Ugh, I find that stuff so annoying. Some people do that on social media, and I get it. Not, you don't want to necessarily fully expose your kids on social media. But if you spend a lot of time photographing your kids and posting them on social media and then blurring out their faces or putting like a sticker over them or something all the time, just find that a little silly. That's just my personal opinion. Like either show them or not show them. That is my stance. Either show them or don't show them. I hate it when people play games because I just think that's a little silly. Lisa, Meghan Markle is Marmite, lover or hater, 100%. There's no in between. It's either lover or hater. There's just like very few people with sort of a neutral. Even if they're neutral, they're probably neutral positive or neutral negative. Terry says, I love your chats. Why, thank you. And he says, will you be able to tour Balmoral when you're in Scotland? No, I think it's pretty far out of our beaten track, so I didn't even try. What I am interested in is doing the tour of Buckingham Palace and going on the east side where you can be in the room where that leads out to the balcony. Those tickets go on sale officially like April 9th if you're on the Royal Collection Trust newsletter, which I am. And so I am going to look and see what the dates are because I'm very interested in doing that. And I would even buy the tickets even if I ended up not being able to come for whatever reason. I'd probably schedule it hopefully sometime in like September. I did kind of want to do another trip in September to the south of France, but I don't know if there's enough time. Would anybody be interested in that? I just should put that up so people can like vote or something. Um so I love that um I love that idea of going and seeing them for sure. The Balmoral would be cool. It's just harder to get to. Buckingham Palace is obviously a lot easier to get to. Like I really want to get out of London more, but usually my trips are so short, so jammed packed. So like if I am able to go, let's say, and go to the Invictus service in London, just for photographs and videos and those sorts of things. Um, that would be literally flying out in Sweden like the crack of dawn, getting there, having the backpack with all my camera equipment, walking around London, and then getting on a flight to go back that same day. So very tight schedule. And I would do it that way because that way I wouldn't have to, because I'd have a big bag with me, and I don't think I'd want to like check that big bag, fly over, check back. That would just be kind of silly. But who knows? Who knows? I guess it depends on how expensive hotels are in London. I don't know. Maybe it would be good. I don't know. Because I have some time between the two sides of the state visit. So, sorry, I'm thinking. I'm trying to think through my plans. It's hard because it's like I kind of want to get to Copenhagen. I wouldn't mind getting over to the Netherlands for their May 4th, Memorial Day. So I was there once by accident and was really cool. But then that's just right before the visit to Sweden. But I didn't get to tour the palace last time in Sweden. I wanted to do that, but it also might be closed because of the state visit. So I don't know. Oh, goodness gracious is me. Terry says it gave a super sticker. Thank you so much, Terry. I appreciate your tip. And we also have Mary Mo. Thank you so much, Mary. And we have Sugar Cookie, one of our members, Husband and Rachel know all about the Sussex Squad, and he thanked them in a public post, so they know how vile and problematic they are, and they do nothing about it. Yes, and that's becoming a bigger and bigger problem for them. You can, like, there can be nasty fans that pop up on your behalf, but I think Harry Meghan's silence is really becoming an issue, and I think Dan Wooten pointed this out, and I think it's entirely true. And I mentioned it too. It's like when they complain about the safety of how terrible social media is, and then they allow their followers to do what they do. And I'm like, you guys don't believe any of that. It's complete BS, and it's completely self-serving, which is what I've said the whole time. Anytime they talk about the quote unquote safety of the internet, it's entirely self-serving. They don't care about anybody else but themselves on the internet. They don't care about anybody else. It's all about serving themselves and not anybody else. Gwyneth, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate it. We also have Lady Aviator, one of our members. The RF hiring the BBC to film the statement was a smart move. The lighting was intentional, was ethereal, and softened the blow of the heavy news. Yes, 100%. They made editorial choices that I think made sense in the situation, and it might have been too. I don't want to overly speculate, but if she was, perhaps still struggling with recovery and wasn't, maybe it was a bit sicker that particular week. Because again, there's cycles with chemo. You have your treatment, and there's a couple weeks in between where you're feeling various stages of terrible, better, almost yourself, and then you cycle back through. So she could have been feeling more on the terrible end that particular week. And so that particular lighting may have softened that look, which is 100% entirely possible. And I don't blame them for that. Jessica Reed said, thanks for having such a great commentary. Well, you are so welcome. Thank you so much, Jessica. I'm glad you appreciate it. I appreciate the tip and support. And we also have Bella Raindrops. State visits to the UK still happen this year. Great question. So we do have some reports that Japan may undergo the state visit that I was supposed to do in 2020. So that has been discussed, I think maybe June, maybe. So that is entirely possible. I think it's Emperor, is it Naruhito? Naruhito, I think he's the emperor. Hirohito was the one during the war. What was the one in between? I can't remember. But anyways, I believe so that is what the one we're looking for this year. And usually there's another one in November. So I'm hoping we get 2 this year. Be great for the BRF. It's just hard because the BRF just doesn't seem to do as much as the other countries like the Netherlands, Sweden, and Denmark and stuff, and Spain, who seem to have a lot of visits or are visiting other countries and undergo foreign state visits and have tiaras and stuff. Because that's what we're going to have in the Netherlands. It's going to be so awesome because we're going to have Spain visiting the Netherlands. So lots of tiaras there. And then with the Scandinavian tours, it'll be Denmark and Sweden and then Denmark and Norway. And so these are close countries, close families. And so, yes, they will be sharing some tiara time. So it should be awesome. Psychedelic Yoda. I got it. Took me a minute. Again, a little bit dyslexic. Apologize. So he said, my first live with RNN. I enjoy your channel very much. I just hope the Sussex Squad leave Catherine alone. Yes. I hope they leave everybody alone. This is my thing, and this is something that I, learned with just being a historian and everything like that. One of the things they teach you in grad school, at least in my grad school at my level, is looking at the different biases that infuse academia, really, at the end of the day, and just the papers that you write. So we all have our biases, and we strive to be as unbiased as possible, or at least that's what you should do. I sort of wear my bias on my sleeve on this channel just because I think that's better than trying to say you're unbiased when you're clearly biased. So I don't hide my bias at all. Anyways, but one of the interesting things that you learned is how different people argue and how they argue poorly. So one of the things that people do is called an ad hominem argument. So they attack the person, not the argument. And so what that proves is 9/10 of the time is that the Sussex Squad doesn't have a great counter argument because they have to attack you as a person. They don't attack the argument. So same thing with Catherine. They're not attacking the argument. They're attacking her. And it's like, because you don't have an argument. And that's what that proves is, I always try to attack the argument. I always try to attack what they're doing and stuff like that, not attack the person. Because when you attack the person, you diminish the value of your argument, for what it's worth. But yeah, I don't think they'll leave Catherine alone. Call me Cordelia. Thank you so much for the super sticker this morning. I do appreciate it. Okay, let's look through. So Amy says, just for fun, in an alternative world, if Lake Queen wouldn't have approved the marriage, would Harry have left? He might have. He might have left on his own. But Meghan also would have been like, well, we desperately need that title, because that's what she thinks. GM from NC, did you see Scoop? It was good. I have not seen it yet. I do want to see it. And we also have a new show, Mary and George, I think it is, about one of the paramours of King James. I knew there was a J there. King James the First, I believe, who gave a title, the Duke of Buckingham, to one of his favorite. He liked the men, allegedly. I have to look and read the history myself, because so much of the time anymore they want to make everybody gay in history. Not everybody was. So I always like to actually read some decent history before I go, okay, I see. So often they're just because sometimes there was a flowery speech that people used to use that we just don't use anymore. And so people think, oh yeah, they were gay. It's like, no, they weren't. And anyways, Psychedelic Yoda says, my father was a historian for over 60 years, so I appreciate your take. I forgot to say that. Why, thank you. I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. And awesome to your dad for being a historian. It's the best. It's the best, in my opinion. I love history. It's awesome. Purple Dragon says, yes, the phony oozes off of Meghan. I remember when I heard Harry was dating an American actress, and I heard it was a chick named Meghan Markle, and I was thinking, what the heck is that? Honestly, too, I thought my initial impression was Meghan is that she had like this one in a lifetime chance meeting with him and decided to concoct a whole relationship out of it. That's literally what I thought. But the thing is, that's really not far off from what she would do. So, anyways. So Michelle says, hi, Michelle from Bayonet, New Jersey. Harry was disaffected before he met Meghan. That's why he is attracted to her. Saw her as his escape. He ran from the frying pan and into the fire. I've been there. Yes, I can somewhat see that. But at the same time, too, I think if he had a partner that was better and more stable, she could have convinced him to like celebrate his his position. Azuma says, any news on Harry's appeal? Has the judge shut him down? Not as far as I'm aware yet. It's Megan like Reagan says, what about Harry's visa and the Heritage Foundation? I thought the deadline has passed and by now to release his documents. I'll have to look again, but I think they asked for an extension because they couldn't find it. All right. So Azuma says, when are you in Scotland? Can we meet up? I will figure out a something, but it'll be probably closer to the event, I think, just so I can kind of figure out what to do. But it would be like either before everybody arrives or after everybody departs. And I do have somebody who had a question on the email, and I need to get back to you on that. RD says, if they attend the Invictus Games, it will be a major boo fest. Yeah, I just find that really odd, to be quite honest. It'll be interesting to see. I'm just even curious what the whole thing will look like, to be quite honest. I'm just so curious about what the whole thing will look like, because it just seems like such an odd move to me. But again, I'm not I don't know anything about it. But Athena says, I could tell there was a problem with Meghan from her first troop in the color. She was dressed all wrong and Catherine's body language was off. Yeah, she was dressed, not appropriately. Sandra says, how old are the kids now, allegedly? So they will turn, I believe, 5 and 3 this year. So Archie will turn 5 in May, and Lilibet will turn 3 in June. So Lindsay Lulu says, Brittany and Lady C agreed with me in Taz's interview because of the Hague Convention. Custody of the children must be decided country reside. Parents may not move children outside. Yeah, no, they probably won't. And I know a lot of people bring up that technically the monarch has somewhat custody of the kids. Again, that's not a authority Charles would ever really exercise in any sort of situation, because I know some people have suggested, well, Charles can claim custody of the kids. He's not going to do that. That gives him nothing to do that. So yeah, it's just kind of complicated. Ivana says, I think Meghan may be a sociopath. Is anyone feeling this? I mean, probably. Probably. She just doesn't seem to care about certain things. Okay, let's keep going. So Shaz says, good afternoon from Motherwell, Scotland. Do you think that King Charles will make a new patent stating the children may be educated in the UK to keep house if the children don't come by May 8th? I don't think it's a particular date, but I just think it's a good idea. I think it's stupid to have kids with titles who have no connection to the country and the monarchy is still functioning. Like, for example, the Greek monarchy is no longer functions. So I mean, they still have titles and everything, but there's no throne. And so it doesn't really matter where anybody is or what the kids do, because like there's no throne. But like in the UK, there's a throne. The king is still head of state. Like, it's a big deal if you have actors who are just doing whatever, like if you have members of the family who are just doing willy-nilly whatever they want, bringing the family into disrepute, that's a problem. That's a problem. Michael says, under California Coogan law, a specific portion of earnings from emerging kids must be placed in trust for their behalf of the kids themselves, which is great. Yes. 100%. Sugar Cookie says, the red flags were up as soon as I heard they were dating big time when they became engaged, and the family said I was being mean when I said that. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people didn't think, and I do appreciate that sometimes my family's like, oh, is that really true though? I mean, and I like how they press me to think somewhat outside the box, but I think my instincts on Meghan were spot on, because my sister was like, oh, she's not so bad, but my instincts were spot on. Nicole says, what is the point of the titles? Is there money involved in something? Oh, we did answer this earlier. Not really, but also yes. Or at least she's hoping it would. So yes, guys, sometimes it does take me a while to get through some of the questions. So Azuma says, what is up with Christopher Bosey? I don't know. I don't get it. I personally do not get it. I just don't think whether or not that video is true is a hill to die on. I just think that's kind of a waste of your time. But I wonder too if it's a way for him to try to increase the number of subscribers on Spoutable. Just he seems to, like, he rails against the attention, and yet I think he also really, really craves the attention. So yeah, That's my personal 2 cents on the matter. But so Margaret says, I think it should be mandatory for all children in the line of succession to be educated in the UK so that they can learn about our culture. Brittany, we had the same thought at the same time. Yes. Yes. 100%. 100%. And it is possible in it's something that is required in Sweden. So Princess Madeline, she moved her kids outside outside of Sweden for a period of time. They're living here in the States. Their house apparently has just sold. And so they will be moving back to Sweden. And the reason is, in part, is because her children will be removed from the line of succession and they'll lose their titles if they aren't educated in Sweden. And so at some point they did have to go back. And so it'll be interesting. Babette says, I don't discount the surrogacy possibility, but I will wait for proof. Even and still, the children are blameless. Yes, they are. And again, there's just been a lot of, I feel like, noise and just very, very little concrete proof of anything that I've seen about surrogacy. Good morning, Brittany from Arizona. Starting to get hot here in the afternoons, 80s and 90s. Whew. Not ready for that yet. Hi, Miss Pippa. Yes, I agree with your opinion about the toxic duo. Why, thank you. Thank you. Asma says, why is the IG coming to the UK? We have no money in this game. It doesn't make any money. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't. So here's the thing about the Invictus Games and why it keeps going, despite the fact that it's not making anybody any money. It's not making anybody any money, in my opinion. It barely probably passes the sniff test. It's not making the cities hosting it really any money. It's, I think, a massive money drain. But why it keeps functioning and why it's sort of somewhat bulletproof is that the governments who send their soldiers out for combat are like, well, this is great PR for us. So we're going to keep supporting this because we can serve our troops. We can make ourselves look good, all these sorts of things. And that's why it keeps going. But yeah, my thing is that the Invictus Games at some point should be able to somewhat support itself. If you need an infusion of millions upon millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars from a city to put on your function, then what's the point? I mean, again, the Olympics, I don't even think it's generating that much money for the city. I don't even know how many people go to the Olympics anymore. Does anyone care? I don't really care. So, yeah. And if you're going to, do not go to Paris, France this year because the Olympics this year and you will get crushed by the mobs. Not the moms, but it'll be very, very busy. Tori Meyer says Meghan fans are wasting their energy. Let's not give them the satisfaction. Yeah, it's like a total waste of time. So GR Jake says, hi from the UK. What do you think about Harry's link to Diddy? I still think that's interesting. We still don't know enough. So I still don't know when what we're going to end up with at the end of the day. So we'll see. Kari says, if I wasn't expecting my first child in September, I'd come in the Scotland trip. Aw, well, congratulations. Maybe a different time, although you'll be a young mom, so I'll be really busy, but Murphy's bed. Maybe the facade will crack when Rachel can't show an enrollment for Archie in any credible school. Again, I don't think that really is. I don't think that's really all that interesting, to be honest. A lot of those records I think are probably private anyway, so I don't think you're going to get that much doing that. Lavina says lying is extremely common on YouTube. It is. It is. So that's why I would encourage you all every time to make sure you look at and read a variety of sources and think about what is possible. That's what I do. But I'm a very strategic thinker, so I know this is somewhat naturally for me, comes more naturally to me than other people. But I always think is what is logical within that person's frame of logic. And so that is what I always go by, what makes sense based on what we know in the past, in the future, and just looking at the facts and things that really, really make sense. So I won't come to you guys generally with some sort of outlandish claim. I won't. You'll notice most of my stuff is based on like news report from mainstream media. Yes, the mainstream media has its issues, but I usually come from British sources, sometimes American. I lean more on American for Harry and Meghan news, British sources for actual royal news. So yeah. Because I know some people are saying In Touch said, Charles had some sort of cancer and he was given only 2 years to live. And I was like, well, until the Times of London is telling me that, I ain't believing it. Mima says, good morning. Do you have any of the latest news regarding Princess Catherine and King Charles? I have been sick all week and have lagged behind. Not really. They are, they're still recovering. So yeah. Michelle says hello and everyone, especially Brittany and Miss and Pippa. Brittany, what are your thoughts on Doria? It's kind of shady working behind this quietly from behind. She gives me the same vibes as Marcus Anderson. I don't have too strong opinion about Doria. Tom Bauer said, and I lean more towards this is true. I know a lot of people think she went to prison. I just think she wasn't that interested in being mom at the time and was trying to pursue her own dreams. And so that is why Meghan was left mostly in the care of her dad. And allegedly. But yeah, I think she's definitely benefiting from the relationship right now. So, and my thing too is if you are close to Meghan, generally Meghan can only really be close with people who are sort of like her. So it does make me question. I know some people are like, "Oh, Dory is great. She's don't think of her and Meghan in the same vein. They're not, same or whatever." My opinion has been, and you could disagree with me, but like kind of like attracts like. And so I can't imagine that Megan's not too far off or that Doria's not too far off from her daughter. She's benefiting from it and liking the attention in some sort of way. So yeah. That's just my personal opinion. Priyanka says, what do you make of them returning to the UK for IG? What drama awaits? It will be interesting. It will be interesting to see. And so I don't know. That's why I'm kind of curious. And I was really hoping that the event would fall under the time I was scheduled to go to Europe, just because I like being there and observing for myself. I can do both. I can do the commentary things when that's appropriate, but I also just like being there and soaking in the environment and trying to, kind of trying to deduce things and what have you. And so that's what interests me. So we shall see for sure. Butterbugs Baked Good said, good morning. I hope everyone is doing well. Maggie Rayner says, I think half the sugars are true haters using Meghan Markle's voices. The others want to belong to something and project. Frankly, many of them will get screwed over by life being so naive and easily led. Yeah, I think they're kind of sad. And because I have criticized all sides of different monarchies and stuff. I can say things are good or bad. I can say I don't like a particular outfit of Catherine's, and I know I get a lot of hate for that, but sometimes, but I think that's true because I don't like the idea of worship. I don't want to worship and love every single thing somebody does, because I think we all have faults, and so you can not like everything I do. But I always hope this doesn't always happen, but I hope people appreciate that maybe I offer a different view on a particular discussion. That's what I always think. But Sussex stands strike me as worshipful. They worship them. And what I think too is Harry finds himself on getting all this support, but I think it'll utterly evaporate if they get divorced. I think so many people who, were praising Harry and going on and on about Harry will drop him like a hot potato as soon as he's not with Meghan Markle. Because I think, unfortunately, her reliance on the racism narrative is really what drove so many people to them in an unhealthy way. So that's my thing. Jay Polinsky says, greetings from Ontario. Sunny finally. Love Saturday morning live streams, even if I catch it later. Awesome. Woodstock said, Brittany, did you see Lady C's interview about the Jamaican Prime Minister doesn't like Meghan? That the trip the Harry and Meghan did was last minute. I didn't see that, but it doesn't surprise me that it was last minute. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I don't know if the guy knows. I mean, he definitely was rude to Catherine Williams, so I don't know. Yeah. Asma says, does Meghan think she knows everything? Yes, she does. She does. So yeah, she definitely thinks she knows everything, and she doesn't. And it's really evident. Terry says, I agree, Brittany. Archie and Lily should be removed from the line of succession if they have never had any residency or education in the UK. The rules will eventually change. Yeah, things too. And this also protects the Wales' kids and make sure that their children can potentially get titles, because I don't think they should be stripped of titles because Harry and Meghan are a wreck, because they'll need more working royals. They may need the whole cadre of the Wales' family, because at some point it's going to be just the Wales guys. She's going to be the Waleses and that's it. So yeah, it's just yeah. Anne says this is funny. Her sexy stuff is goofy. The licking her chops hamburger wearing a wispy rag in TV interview. But men like it? I guess so. I guess so. Melanie says, hi, RNN fans doing what I love to do on Saturday, grocery shopping and listening to Brittany. Why, thank you. Why, thank you. Gender neutral pantyhose. I like that, gender neutral pantyhose. I couldn't finish Suits. Meghan definitely didn't add much to that show. The other actors were great. Yes, I heard Louis is great. I heard the dynamic between Harvey and Donna is fantastic. But yeah, I don't think a lot of love would be given to Meghan. But here's the thing, guys. I may be giving too much of a preview for a future video, but we'll see. But the thing is, Meghan Markle screwed herself because she became too well known. Meghan Markle functioned as a public image figure so much better when we knew virtually nothing about her because nobody cared enough to know enough about her. She screwed herself over by going too high and becoming a victim of her own hubris. So, Lucy, if you could choose any royal engagement that you could attend, what would it be? State visits, Trooping the Color? My dream engagement so far to actually do is the Swedish Nobels. That is like my dream engagement to photograph and video would be the Swedish Nobels. I'm hoping to do that this year. If the Christmas market tour comes together, actually before I arrive there, I will be in Sweden, hopefully covering that. I don't know how much I'll be able to cover, but yes, any state visits, those sorts of things, would love to cover. Love to cover. So I need to reach out to Denmark and Sweden and Norway and just see, because it's like I really want to do one of the TR events. Now the benefit is that at least when it comes to Denmark, because they're actually traveling via boat, their ship, their yacht basically, is that even if I can't get into the state visit, I may be able to see Mary get off the boat. So if I can't get into the state visit, you bet your bottom dollar I will be there waiting for them to get off the boat as soon as humanly possible. Because I missed that last time briefly. Although I was okay because Mary was only wearing her wedding tiara and I don't particularly like that one. But the exciting thing is she's going to be wearing some of her grander pieces. And I'm hoping because this event is even smaller that there'll be an even greater opportunity because they're like, there won't be that many people. And I technically am a contributor to Shutterstock. They've taken some of my pictures. I need to submit more. I don't have time to though, but because you have to like insert all this stuff. I need to just like give it to my mom or something and go, hey, if you have like 5 hours of your day that you wouldn't mind just submitting all these pictures and putting in all the information about them, that would be awesome. But anyways, so yes, yeah. But yes, that's a great question. But yeah, Swedish Nobels is at the top of my list, but any other good like state visit? Like, so if Charles, let's say, did a state visit to the Netherlands, I would try as hard as I could to get there to cover that one. Why? Because we might see the full Stuart tiara again, and I cannot miss that. I'm kind of sad I'm missing the Netherlands Spanish state visit because it'll be the first time Catherine Amalia is participating in a state visit. But when it comes to Norway, it might be the first time that Ingrid Alexandra is participating in a state visit because it will be the Danish royals and they're all very close. So we'll see. Caramel says, hello, all. Brittany, do you think the public will reignite the firestorm around Andrew interview? Can his reputation get any worse? I don't know if it can get any worse, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I haven't watched it yet. I do want to watch it. I do want to again get more into being able to watch and review different royal shows. So yeah. Yeah. Um, Brittany, I watched the Live by Thomas Markle Jr. and Friends. There was a bombshell that the RF is having a media blockout re Harry and Meghan. The palace will finally speak out about the children. I really wouldn't give that much stock, to be honest. I really, really wouldn't. We have not even seen really any sort of rumors in the UK media. The UK media is very close to the palace and stuff. I just don't really think it's true. What is the next milestone from YouTube and what do you get? You get another plaque and it's 1 million. So you have to get to 100K and then you have to wait till you get to 1 million. So you have to do 10 times that to get to. So yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. I think it's totally possible. But yeah, we will see. Yeah, this is what I thought too. Jean says the Royal Rogue channel looked into her hospital visit and she's not on their Facebook page. While other celebrities who visit are there with photos. It's standard. Yeah, but they did release them. They were the official picture takers. But yeah, it's just hard. It's just hard. So she's just so unpopular. She's just so unpopular. Sugar Cake says you can gain weight without being preggers, though. Very true. But she had the weight that came in after the pregnancies and struggled to lose it. So again, I think sometimes the simplest explanation for something is usually the correct one. That is I tend to not get in trouble when I go with the simplest explanation for something. That is my deal. Asma says, any Netflix content deal renewing? Don't know. They're working on stuff in very early development. And Meghan Markle shotgunned her cooking show. We don't even know if that was like approved by Netflix when she announced American Riviera Orchard. Again, if she launched that hoping that it would trigger Netflix to cover her cooking program. Terrible, terrible business practices because that's just going to tick people off. Japan's Imperial Royal Family just launched their Instagram account and they had 700,000 followers. Oh, that is really bad. I should look. I actually did follow it on Instagram because I was trying to find something for a video I was doing and I couldn't figure it out. And so I was like looking, going, okay, where is the Japanese imperial family it's going to take me a second though to look and find and see where it is. But it was one of those things where it's like, oh, it would be amazing. But it's so funny too, because it's like imperial something. And it's like, it almost sounds like a business. It's so odd. I swear I followed it though. Did I follow it on the wrong channel? Could have definitely done that. Oh no, there it is. It's called the Imperial Household Agency. Yeah, 733,000 followers. I don't know if you can see that. And I did not follow, so I will follow now. And it's like, you got translation, so it's all in Japanese up here, which makes sense. But that's pretty amazing because they're not even like trying to. Oh, it's so funny. It says, when I said translate, it goes, this is the official account of the Yokohama party. It sounds so like a business. It's so weird. It's so weird. But whatever. It's great that they're doing it. Great that they're modernizing so many. Water 8604 said, because you are better than Mimi, you are kind and actually care about people. Why, thank you. I do try, and I always like, yeah, it's something that's passionate. So let's see what other questions. Lady Aviator says, Brittany, you have done a great job with your channel, professional and always classy. Why, thank you. I try. I think that's really, really important. Lizzie B says, you say the key word, Brittany, simple. That's how she should have started. Yes, simple. Simple. Very simple. Very, very simple. Gender neutral pantyhose says, yes, kids not bonding with Harry's family is sad. It is sad. At the end of the day, it is utterly and completely sad. Oh, Judas Go Barbecue. I love FNT. That's so funny. Oh, another one. I was wondering if anybody actually knew what that was. So yes, I am a little bit of a nerd in terms of, but I enjoy it. I just find it really interesting. Good mixed crowd of people, which is always good. Virginia said, Australian News said no Kids Palace is going to come out with a statement. I still don't think so, but I could see. Chantal also, yes, F&T, critical drinker. Hollywood is burning. It is. It's bad. And it's interesting. And I could do a whole video on this because, again, I've always loved Hollywood and movies and television shows and those sorts of things. But Harry and Meghan came in at the perfect time. Hollywood was just pouring money into everything. And then they sat and did nothing. And now you're getting to the point where everything is being scaled back. And Hollywood is really trying to evaluate what is worth putting money into. And they failed to prove their worth. They had this great shot and they blew it. They've lost millions of dollars. It's so funny when their stands go, oh, they're so successful. And I'm like, no, they've blown through millions of dollars. They've lost millions of dollars. They've lost probably tens of millions of dollars due to sheer incompetency. It's just shocking to me. I'm somewhat incompetent, but but that's because mostly probably I have a bit of ADD and I just can't think through things sometimes. But I'm also all by myself and she has a whole team. Okay. Disney fired all those creative employees because they couldn't go along with their woke agenda. Yeah. So it killed Disney. Disney is kind of sort of dead. Like literally every show they came out with for, oh, we're coming out with this year is all entirely like basically remakes of like their original like their original animated features. I was like, you guys are gonna like run out of things at some point. You got to create something new. I know it's risky. It's really risky, especially when you really suck at it right now. But like Strange World, not a good idea. Wish apparently really bad. So yeah, that's you gotta kind of gotta work on. Yay! Oh, oh yes. So somebody's asking me to block something, but yeah, block somebody. Yes. If there's somebody who's being a problematic in the stream, just you have if you go over on their little panel, there's like a little three dots. And I think you can request to ban user, and that's usually the simplest way to do things. Oftentimes. Um, this is funny though. She's too booked and busy to waste time on you haters. Hate all you want. You will never be able to stop their success. Never. um, well, I'm not stopping their success. They're stopping their own success. They're the ones who messed it all up. It wasn't me. It was them. It was them. It was funny because somebody mentioned on one of the Sussex stands on Twitter or whatever mentioned that what did they mention? That that my channel that I talk about Meghan all the time and I don't cover Catherine's events. So it's like, well, I've always said to you guys and I've been clear that I would love to cover more standard royal events more, but the hard part is the royal family channel does that and I'm not there on the ground in the UK, and so I can't really cover events as they happen because somebody else already has a video and put it up before I could even sneeze. So I just can't totally compete with that. And I like more commentary sometimes more than straight reporting. If I can be at an event and do some straight reporting, I will of course do that. But I also like offering commentary and stuff like that. But it was just so funny because it's like, why people make more videos on a particular topic, like the train wreck that is Harry and Meghan, because people like watching the train wreck that is Harry and Meghan. So you have this. It's almost like it's like the chicken versus the egg question. You make particular videos because people end up watching particular videos. There's some other videos people don't watch. I still try to make them when I can, but I make the other ones because guess what? People like them more. But yeah, I liked giving that a little bit of a dramatic flair. I hope you appreciated that. Well, I can't remember what your name was. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed that. So Alice says, Brittany, you get upset because you take what you do seriously and you have so many ideas you could launch if you had help. Of course, you find Meghan offensive for squandering her resources. Yes, that's 100% right. Oh my gosh, her resources, guys, what I could do, the team I could hire, like all the things I could do. It would be so good. And she's got like everything and she messes it all up. I don't get it. I just don't get it, guys. I just don't get it. Like I have endless ideas. Like I could go on and on. I had an idea for a Victorian cooking show because I can't really cook. But I had this cool old cooking book that has literally every recipe and creation in it with no temperatures, no standard measuring tools because it was like made in the early 1900s. It's a very old book. And I just thought that would be absolutely hysterical to watch me try to cook. History, obviously, love to do. Not only just royal history, but general history, talking about history in the present time and how we look at history and all these sorts of things. So many ideas, but so little time. So little time, guys. And Meghan has all this money and time and she squanders it and it makes me sad. Makes me sad. Gwyneth says, hey, Brittany, can you tell me more about the squad? I don't usually venture out there and wondering specifically they can be problematic. Thank you. Great question. Bravo for not becoming somebody who is a target of them because it is very challenging sometimes. Very, very challenging. So, what my probably biggest thing with them is that they would pop up on my stuff from time to time and it would be annoying because they they're just kind of obnoxious. But I think the thing that started to get really bad was, it started off with my selfie with Catherine because Christopher Bosey made a post about it and said, essentially that was a paid shill by the palace, which is totally and completely true. I've never ever been contacted by Buckingham Palace, guys, or Kensington Palace or any of the palaces. Never, ever, ever. And so the only communication I've had is one I've instigated through like asking for press credentials. And so never, but I got a lot of hate for that. And so that was unpleasant, just in part because it's like, well, that was just something I went to because I wanted to have that opportunity. I wanted to get a selfie. And it's like, kind of wrecked it. It was just kind of like, how did this thing that was so awesome become so ugly? And then it was the worst bit I've ever had with it was when I was in Germany right before the Invictus Games, and people were the Sussex Squad was freaking out. I was getting all these sorts of awful messages and um everything like that. It was just crazy awful. Like they were going to call the police and that I should be on a watch list and stuff like that. And I wasn't even in Dusseldorf. I was in Munich, hours away. The event was even supposed to start for a week. And so that was terrible. They'll call you specific names and stuff, and they just do really awful things. They try to find like personal pictures from various social medias that are not public or from other people's social medias. And so it's just a very, very ugly thing. And I don't do it to them. Why? Because number one, I don't care. You can have your own thoughts about Meghan. I don't care. I don't care. I just find that your need to somehow try to, I don't even know what you're really trying to prove, but this obsessive need to go after people who don't like Meghan Markle is just, I think, kind of disgusting and pointless. So yeah. But anyways, very unpleasant people. Very unpleasant people. So you can not like them, or you can like Meghan Markle. That's fine, but just like respect other people for who don't like them. That's fine. We have Melanie. Thank you so much for the super sticker, Melanie. That I really do appreciate that. I do appreciate that so much. The Pippa puppy tax has been paid. Yes. Yeah, she's gotten to say hi to you guys a couple of times. Let's see, where is she at? Oh, she's a big girl. She's laying down and she's like all stretched out on her UGG blanket because she's stolen all the UGG blankets. So yeah. Chris says that we'll guide any members of RNN in Stockholm for free. Oh, that is so awesome, Chris. So I thank you. I'll have to reach out and see if I can share that with people if anybody ever comes to Stockholm, because it is I really enjoyed Stockholm when I was there. I thought it was awesome. I really enjoyed spending more time. With the trip to UK, it might be not quite so well, but it would be awesome. But I'm also looking forward to going to Oslo, hopefully Copenhagen for a little bit. It's just like, it's just so fun to see royals and like their environments. It's amazing. We got Melanie. I think I did already thank you. My brain gets a little mixed. So thank you so much for the super sticker if I haven't mentioned it. And then I also got Judas Go Barbecue. Thank you so much for the tip. Best explanation for Hollywood's mistakes comes from if you innovate but do not violate. When making new shows or on old stories, not every character needs to be updated. By the way, love Japanese title of the Chrysanthemum Throne. Yes, it is a very cool title for the Chrysanthemum Throne. It feels like a lot of. I remember when I first saw it, I was like, "What is that?" And I was like, "Oh, Chrysanthemum." And it's been my understanding is that it's the oldest continuous monarchy in existence. So it dates back quite. I can't remember quite how old. I think in terms of principalities, Monaco is technically the longest, but Japan is in terms of actual monarchy, right behind it. And so I can't remember quite how old it is, but it's the oldest serving continuous monarchy in existence. And so it has a very ancient throne, very well respected, but obviously as well, guys. Oh, Meghan Markle complains about the British monarchy. She ain't got nothing on Japan. Japan is where, like, you just even watch the princess, the daughter of the emperor and empress, and just like how very, like, how conservatively they dress, how like they almost seem Stepford wife-ish to me. It's just, I think it's very sad. I think it's very sad. Okay, I'm just gonna have to get closer to the I'm gonna miss some of these in the middle, but I feel like I gotta get closer to the end because we're getting closer to the end time. Asima says Meghan is older than Catherine and William. Yes, 100%. Catherine says, been binging watching royal documentaries on YouTube. They're great. Watched the one on Mary and Frederick last night. That was a real love story. Yes. Love to watch more of that and get more. I know some people are getting, whatchamacallit. Ooh, what is it? getting more like news from other royals. I do want to do a whole video, and I wasn't sure exactly how to frame it because I didn't want people to get weirdly upset. But I know too, Catherine's obviously on break, so we need somewhere to maybe channel our royal energy to watch. And I'm like, well, if you guys don't know, there's like all these other royals who are also totally awesome. So I'm hoping too my Scandinavia trip will be kind of an example of that. Alethea said, looking forward to Spanish state visit to the Netherlands, especially excited to see what tiara Princess Katharina might wear. Yes. And I just did a video on my fashion channel about the Stuart tiara and the Dutch diamond bandeau tiara, which are two of my favorite tiaras. And so I'm really hoping, which I said, and maybe my video will see a resurgence around that time, is that we may see, I would love to see Catherine Amalia in the Dutch diamond bandeau. It would be awesome. Don't know what Letizia would wear. I don't know, because she has kind of two bigger-ish gun tiaras. And then Maxima loves a Stuart, and I love that Maxima loves a Stuart. So I was like, I won't ever say don't wear the Stuart, but we shall see if she wears something else, like the Dutch Mellorio, Dutch Ruby Mellorio tiara, maybe. Water 8604, going to Buckingham is a dream of mine. Yes, and it's well worth the visit. I went there for the first time actually last summer inside. Hadn't been inside before because usually I was in off-peak times or whatever because they only open it during the summer. It was awesome. I was so bummed I couldn't take pictures. And yes, I know there's pictures available online in the bookstore and everything, but they're not the pictures I would necessarily take. And it's I liked having my own pictures. And I like, being able to focus in on something I find particularly interesting and stuff. And so, yes, I'm just bummed. Kyler says, wow, that would be absolutely amazing to stand in that room. 100 pounds, most folks spend more on that on the night out than what I've been able to afford for decades. So the 100 pounds is for Balmoral, but definitely Buckingham Palace would probably be cheaper. I think it was about 30 something pounds. I think in an American, when I finally got everything out and sussed out, was maybe close to 50. But definitely 100% worth going. 100%. It did rain when I got to the outside, and I will say I wasn't able to find a place to sit down and eat my little snack because I just wanted to get a little snack while I was there. And it's like, oh. Have you, Virginia says, have you been in the Eye? I would guess the London Eye. Yes. It's been a long, long time. A long, long time. And yeah, but I haven't really gone. I haven't been like super excited about going. So I know some other people like they're like, they must go to the London Eye, and that's awesome, but it's just not something that super interests me. So Anne says, Brittany is intelligent and knows a lot about royals. Many countries in Europe. Meghan doesn't know anything but the Disney version. Yes, I think, again, Disney version drove a lot of her knowledge about royals. Yeah. Next, Akihito was Hirohito-san. This is from Nick. Okay. Yeah, Akihito. I know they sound similar, like Naruhito, Akihito, Hirohito. Like they sound very similar. So I'm like, oh my gosh, it must sound similar, but I can't quite remember. Julie Ann Lewis says, I don't think the Sugars love her. They are just anti-monarchy. I don't know if that's entirely true. And I don't know necessarily if they love her really. It's the idea of her. Much like Harry, it's the idea of Meghan Markle, not really Meghan Markle necessarily. I mean, they talk about how much they love her, but at the same time, too, I think it's more, again, the idea of who Meghan Markle is rather than actually Meghan Markle. So, Sugar, that tiara I think is in Denmark. Oh, yeah, and I'm hoping to go and see the when I'm in Copenhagen. I kind of debated, but I did decide to go to Copenhagen. I think I'm pretty sure I'm going to go to Copenhagen just because I really want to see they have some of the tiaras in the museum. So I really want to see some of those and get some good pictures. So yeah. So Crystal says, are you going to watch the Andrew Netflix show? Yes. I do want to watch it. I do want part of the podcast to be talking briefly about my thoughts on like, some like royal movies and stuff that I've seen and those sorts of things. But again, I thought it would be so much faster. It's not, guys. Like the oh gosh. Taxes killing me. Okay. And I'm like so freaked out. So freaked out. But I do have like rooms I particularly use for just business, and so I can deduct those things as well. And so, oh my gosh. Shazanza says, what about African parks? We haven't heard much more. And again, I will say 100%. We need to look into that. But as well, Harry needs to, I think, be reflective on that there's might be some things going on that he doesn't particularly like, but he just hasn't really said anything. That's kind of the thing. Because it's like you can't really totally control what people are doing outside your purview. But you are what your organization that you attach to does reflect on you. And I will say too, I was looking and somebody mentioned it, and Sentebal, Harry's charity in Africa, in Lesotho, they put the Sussex Squad, thanking them as being contributors on their page. And I just want to see, it's like the same thing with Harry and Meghan. Just because you're somewhat charitable sometimes does not mean you're good. It does not mean necessarily that you are a good person. Because they do it too, just like Harry and Meghan do. They do charity to mask bad intentions. So Renee says, hi, Brittany. Hi, everyone. Meghan has put herself in a tricky position. Her credibility is so bad that it is a damn that she does, damned if she doesn't. Yes, 100%. 100%. She can never, at this point, too, she sort of screwed herself over by, I think, becoming too public, to be honest. She succeeded when she could spin her narratives within a very, very small pond and nobody cared. And she could pay her PR company up the wazoo to get her in front of people. And so that is what she did. And rearing into the royals offers a high level of scrutiny. So everything she's done ever has been picked apart. And I don't think she was anticipating that. And I don't think she can handle that well, because she wants all of us to believe the veneer she puts out online. That's why she's so obsessed with Instagram. It's all about veneer. It's not about real. So she doesn't care about real. She cares about the veneer that you see. So Lexi says, why hasn't anyone figured out if Doria was in jail? Because I don't think she was. Again, Tom Bauer said, and I think this is true, she wanted to pursue. What did she want to pursue? She wanted to pursue like a business venture and just kind of left Meghan. Christine says, hello from Thailand. I wasn't sure if I was going to make the live this week. Well, hello. So let's keep going here. Una says, what kind of celebrities do you think would join here at Meghan's cooking and lifestyle show if she has one? Oh, not Reese Witherspoon. Not Reese Witherspoon. She was smart enough, apparently, to decline an invitation to Meghan's wedding, and I think she was probably spot on in her intentions. So Meghan, again, this is just my opinion, but I think Meghan attracts people who are as desperate for fame as she is. So people who are generally more established and not interested in that wouldn't be interested in her show. So I don't think she'd get a ton of, I would say, A-listers, especially like serious actors. I don't think she'd get any of those there, but I don't even think they would do that anyways. She will get people like her, people who are desperate for fame and fortune, like her friends and stuff. And so those are the type of people she would attract to that show. Sandra says, no one I know in real life cares about British royal family or any royals for that matter. So these lives are great. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Yes. It's so great to be with people, because I know it's kind of funny, because I all my family has started getting more into it as the channel has grown and stuff like that. My dad sends me texts with the news stories, which is so cute. My mom wants to talk about stuff every once in a while, and like everybody kind of knows it. And so it's just something very sweet. One of my cousins, he asked me about it. And so it's just so fun to have that kind of outlet. And I think people really enjoy it, because it's like, it is something that's kind of silly, but it's kind of fun. But guys, I've always again, the red book back there, The Queen's Jewels, I checked that out from my library when I was in high school. I did a whole project on the Cullinan diamond in high school based on that book. So I've always loved royals. And so but again, I love jewelry. I love fashion. I love history. And I love a little bit of the drama gossip that goes on behind the scenes. So for royal family, I mean, they hit all those buttons for me. They do. They do. Okay. Let's keep going here. So does Doria speak to her family? That I do not know. That I do not know. I don't know that. So yes. Maggie Raynor says, "Well put, Brit." Why, thank you. I don't know what that is in reference to, but I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Okay. So I enjoyed my artistic interpretation of. Yeah. So Margaret says, Brittany, I doubt they would make a historical figure gay if there wasn't much info about them, at least batting for both sides. You would be surprised. You would be surprised. They tend to overly read into, because some of the speech people use in, let's say, even 100, 200 years ago is much more flowery in friendships than we would now. And so people read into things. There was an interesting comparison that one of my professors made, is that, obviously there's sometimes been allegations that, Abraham Lincoln was gay. But some of the evidence they use is that he shared clothes with his Secret Service members. Well, they shared clothes because that's kind of what you did. And then they slept together in like a boarding house when they were traveling. It's like, but that's kind of what everybody did. And so sometimes people, again, in our modern vision, we see a lot more, let's say, we just even have a different interpretation of what gay is. And so it's just is very different in terms of what people are looking at and what people are seeing than what is actually reality. Like, one of the few historical figures that I'm pretty sure was 100% bad for the other side is Philippe de Orleans, who was the brother of Louis XIV. And they encouraged his dalliances because it made him less interested in the throne. So I always thought that was really funny. I read somewhere too that was called the Italian Vice. I haven't really been able to find anything that confirms that, but I've always thought that was really funny. I've always thought it was really funny. So yeah, it's just interesting. Janet Claire says, Brittany, you are very level headed and put out well researched opinions, not hyperbole and name calling. That's why I like your channel so much. Why, thank you. Yes, I really focus on that. I don't like name calling because it's been directed at me. I don't really like when it's directed at Meghan either, because again, if you can't find the argument, you could say, whether that's action or whatever, to critique, then that's not going to work. So let's see what else we have here. There's some weird thing. Um, okay. So Alexi says, has anybody read Lady C's new book? Some people have. I have not had a chance to yet. I did read her original though. I actually think I'd listen to it. Manky Moo Moo. I like that. Brittany, if you could interview any royal family, which would you like to interview? Oh, that's a good question. Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I would honestly really enjoy interviewing somebody like Queen Maxima, and I've also heard Catherine Amalia is really into royal jewels and tiaras and stuff. So I think I would enjoy interviewing them. And yes, I know that's off the beaten track, and I'd love obviously to talk to the Brits. Of course, Queen Elizabeth II. Oh man, that would be awesome. But I love too that, because I think there's a growing interest in royals in general, that there's so many other royals beyond the British, and it would be great because most of them do speak English, to give them an opportunity to do more English speaking interviews so that they can, sort of broaden their audience and go, and more people can go, oh my gosh, these people are awesome too. Letizia was a former news anchor for CNN Espanol. Uh, Queen Maxima was a banker, and you have just so many talented people within royal families that it would just be awesome to pay. SEJ says, that's cool. Does Shutterstock pay for that? Technically, yes. So if anybody purchased my pictures that I submitted, I would technically get something from that. But I only was able to submit a small number. And then like so many other things happen, and I'm just doing so many other things. So I do just want to get a lot more of my pictures on there. And then, obviously portray that as well and get them on there much faster. But I'm hoping to, I need to go to AT&T because I have an iPad here. And I do have cellular, but I don't know how to turn on the international cellular. So I'd like to do that. That way, when I'm traveling or I'm at an event, I can put it on. It's just so much easier when you can put something on something big like this. Diva says, Amazon not releasing Lacey's new book in the US until the 16th. Yes, it does happen. Sometimes they're kind of stagnated and stuff like that. So yeah, we will see. Terry says, sadly, Andrew paid Virginia when it was totally unnecessary. Virginia was of legal age and was talking Other girls into working for Epstein. I have no sympathy whatsoever for Virginia. I think it's complicated, but I will say I think Andrew way overpaid. He like paid like what $13 million or something. I'm like, no. So yeah. I did kind of block people. Let's see. Let's see if we can keep going here. Is Disney producing stuff? I mean, they're producing stuff, but nothing new. Nothing new. So that's kind of what yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what goes through. Yeah, so Janice says, I saw a video on the cost of the Olympics on the host city country. Huge money drain, venues not reused, abandoned unless college pro sites use prestige factor. Yes. And that is sort of why they've moved to more established cities. Like, oh goodness gracious is me. Like Paris, like Los Angeles, because they don't really have to build a lot of facilities because they already have a ton. The the problem is that what does that mean? I don't know. Okay. Yay. Okay. So we got it. Aw, P Pacific says today's Lord Freddie Windsor's 45th birthday, born 1979 at the Lindo Wing, and like all good royals, had photos taken on the hospital steps with Prince and Princess Michael of Kent. That's so funny. So funny that he did, because he's pretty far down the line of succession. And but yeah, it's just like, goodness gracious is me. It's the simple thing Meghan had to do. The whole surrogacy thing, which was already floating around, because I was on that train a little bit and then I got off. But it stuck around because Meghan was so conceited, wanting to be manipulative, so many different things that she couldn't do the simple thing, which is stand out on the steps of the hospital and show off the baby. If she had done that, if she had done all the other things the royals had done, she would be fine. She would be fine. The rumors would have ceased. But no, no, no. She had to do whatever they did. I just golly. Again, the simple things she doesn't do, and then yeah, it's just my goodness. Oh, we have a new member, Robin DL. Why, thank you so much, Robin. I like your little pirate ship. I like your little pirate ship. We got Sharon. Thank you so much for the super sticker as well. I do appreciate it. Um, that is awesome. Water 8604 said Netflix used to have a Great Windsor Show documentary, but it's gone. I'm sorry. It may be if you have a VPN, you may be able to find it on a different Netflix. Sometimes that happens. That's what I had to do because I had to download, and I was so glad I did. I had to download a television show to watch on. Well, I decided to download a show to watch it on the airplane, and as it turned out, my the screen in front of my seat was broken, and so I was gonna have like 8 hours where I was not gonna have anything to watch, and so I was so good. I was so glad I had downloaded a show I hadn't seen before, so I could binge the whole thing while flying back, and which was awesome because if I had to, I'm like, again, I think it's part of the ADD I have. Like I have to be like using my hands or doing something on the airplane. I can't just sit and watch something. I had to do multiple things at the same time. So I was just really lucky that I had that. It was awesome. Lottie said, "Wouldn't Archie be in school when Harry is due at St. Paul's unless he's being homeschooled?" Yes, he would be due. He would be due. So Liz M said, "Watched Scoop last night. It's good. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it." All right, guys. So we will go ahead and wrap this up here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And Candace says, can you tell us more about the possible trip to south of France? So yes, this would be with Trova Trip again. And it's sort of close to Monaco. So there's a day trip to Monaco that you can include. And I will 100% be encouraging everybody to include that. There's also like a trip to a winery and I think like a flower field or something. I have to look at it again, but I was interested in doing it. And I think I might still. So if you guys are enjoying it, we will do that. And Liz M says, I'm enjoying your TR Tuesday. Excellent job. I thank you. Those are some of my favorites. So guys, I love that you guys are able to join me on these. Thank you so much. Oops. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Saturday and I shall see you soon. All right. Bye.